Killer Bee should have died. And I know many people love the character, but think about this for a second. Do you remember how Killer Bee even survived the 4th Great Ninja War? Seriously, because Madara, after he came back with Rinna Tensei, absorbed every single tail beast into the Geromazo to become the Jinchuriki of the Ten Tails. And we know that when a Jinchuriki loses the tail beast, he or she dies. It's an inevitability. Naruto got the 9 tails extracted, and if Minato didn't have the other half of the 9 tails to plug the hole that the 9 tails left inside of Naruto, he would have died as well, and he is the protagonist. So how come Bee survives? Because yeah, he is alive by the end of the Naruto series, and I know some of you may remember, but this is a very quick glossed over scene that people tend to forget about, especially people that only watch the anime, because there's like 5 septillion fillers in that part of the story with the infinite Tsukuyomi that your brain starts to melt and drip down your ears, so it's easy to forget some things that happen there, especially quick events. But Killer Bee actually just used a tail substitution jutsu. Remember the same one he used to escape Sasuke after the Amaterasu? And the same one he uses to surprise attack the Ten Tails when they're all fighting against it. You know, Kakashi Kamui is the tail, and then the tail becomes the 8 tails, and then they shoot a Bijudama at it, but the Ten Tails just kind of flicks it out of the way. Killer Bee uses that jutsu to survive. And it's funny because the tentacle remains there on the ground, and Killer Bee just chills for a while, and he decides to exit the tentacle exactly when Infinite Tsukuyomi is being cast. So he exits the tentacle and is instantly put under the genjutsu, and it's completely useless for the rest of the entire story. Killer Bee doesn't do anything else. And that's one of the reasons why he should have died. He had no more purpose in the narrative. And yeah, just because the character is not going to do anything else doesn't mean the character has to die, but it's a reason that allows you to kill off the character, especially if the character's death is going to enhance some other moment. And of course, the fans wouldn't want Killer Bee to die because he's a cool character and they would be sad about it, but I don't really look at a story in terms of the characters themselves as if they are real people that I would be sad if they died. I'm much more interested in looking at stories by a narrative perspective and how a character's death can enhance the overall narrative. And Killer Bee dying here would achieve several interesting things for the story, and especially in relation to Naruto's character. For one, it is kinda stupid that Killer Bee simply substitutes and manages to survive Madara taking the 8 tails out of him. Him doing that has several implications that are not very good. The first one is that Madara didn't take the entire 8 tails because some of it had to remain behind. Now, because after everything is done and all the tail beasts have been released, the 8 tails' full body is there, I have to assume Madara took most of the 8 tails, but that still makes it so that Madara is not a perfect 10 tails Jinchuriki. Well, he didn't have half of the 9 tails anyways, but still, it would have been better narratively speaking if Madara had achieved 100% of his goal, and Bee substituting out of the way makes it so that Madara doesn't get that 100% of the 10 tails. It wouldn't be the case anyway because of the Naruto situation with the 9 tails being split in 2 because of Minato way back in the day, but that's another issue I don't like. But we're talking about Bee here, let's focus. Bee substituting also makes it seem like, oh, okay, so it was kinda easy to avoid that attack, wasn't it? Why didn't you all substitute out of the way and simply didn't get sucked into the 10 tails? That would have been easy. And obviously you can say that the tentacle substitution is a special jutsu that the 8 tails has and nobody else does. And again, it is implied that you have to sever your tail before you substitute. That's exactly what Sasuke does, allowing Bee to substitute in their fight. And we don't see if the 8 tails gets one of its tails severed during the fight against the 10 tails to use that Kamui combo when Kakashi expels a tentacle there. But some of Bee's allies could have done that easily, and so the problem would be solved. And yes, there's a very quick panel when we see the 8 tails ripping one of its tails before it's dragged into the Geromazo, meaning that that's when it did the substitution. It's a you blink it and you miss a moment, but it happens. So there's a small setup. It makes sense narratively speaking, but the problem is the jutsu even working at all at that moment. It diminishes the situation from a narrative standpoint, and it makes Madara's jutsu seem weaker. If the 8 tails could do that and cut his own tail so that he could escape, why wouldn't the other tail beasts resort to some other methods? Naruto couldn't bring his chakra back, and I'm pretty sure other tail beasts would have jutsus that could do something similar to the substitution, but Killer Bee's the only one who does that because obviously he's the only one who needs to survive because the other tail beasts don't have a Jinchuriki inside of them, and Naruto's gonna survive through Minato passing the 9 tails. Bee substituting there also diminishes the effect that Madara's ability had on everybody because Naruto apparently could not retract the chakra of the 9 tails back into his body when that weird chain was choking his neck and Madara was pulling him in. So even though he wasn't technically the full tail beast like Bee had activated. He had the avatar, he couldn't get out of the way. That would be pretty easy if he could, right? He just deactivates the Kurama avatar and he just hops away. But no, he couldn't do that, and that's how Madara manages to drag the Nine Tails out of Naruto. I mean, obviously, for a narrative reason, Naruto had to lose the Nine Tails there so Madara could become the 10 Tails Jinchuriki, and the other half was around so Naruto wouldn't die. But it makes it seem like those chains have some special properties that neutralize some of the powers of the tail beasts. And the substitution jutsu should probably be one of those, shouldn't it? If Naruto couldn't retract his chakra, then Killer Bee probably wouldn't be able to do that substitution with his tentacle. But no, he doesn't. And Killer Bee surviving that, as I said before, has no bearing in the narrative because Killer Bee doesn't do anything else throughout the entire rest of the story. But now let's go to what could actually be gained if Killer Bee died there. Well, Killer Bee would have died in front of Naruto, as Naruto is in pretty much the same predicament. Imagine if Naruto's all desperate, he cannot retract the Nine Tails back into his body, and he's watching Killer Bee, his last sensei, the man who taught him how to master the tail beast, getting his own tail beast sucked out of him, and Naruto can't do anything to help him. And it's perfect, because the Nine Tails has to be the last one the Geromazu absorbs, because it's the most powerful one. And it makes sense for Madara to go in order, so Killer Bee would be the second to last who would be absorbed, which means that yeah, Gaara can have that cool moment with Shukaku when there's that flashback with a monk that used to be Shukaku's Jinchuriki. That's completely fine. It's actually a pretty cool, underrated, and even underlooked moment in the Naruto series that gives even more character to Gaara and obviously develops his relationship with Shukaku. But after that, the tail beasts are just absorbed, Naruto loses the Nine Tails, and that's it. No focus is given to Killer Bee. And people should be thinking about this, right? It is a very well established fact in the Naruto universe that the Jinchuriki is going to die if he loses the tail beast, and Bee so happens to be dragged into the Geromazu with the 8 tails just like Naruto is. So we should also be worrying about Bee, and we actually should be worrying about Bee even more because Bee is not the protagonist. So if he dies, that would make more sense. We know Naruto's not gonna die in that situation. We knew that, oh yeah, he's gonna survive somehow. But Killer Bee is kind of fair game, isn't it? Imagine the anguish Naruto would go through watching his master being dragged into the Geromazu as he is powerless. Imagine how much that would raise the stakes for the eventual final confrontation between Naruto and Madara. I can also imagine Gaara, who is nearby, trying to help Naruto and Bee and the other tail beasts, grabbing Killer Bee's body after the 8 tails gets dragged out of him and tries to save him, but realizes it's too late, and Bee weakly tells Gaara to help Naruto out because he's a goner. There's nothing you can do about it. But Naruto would still be fighting against the pull of the Geromazu because the Nine Tails is the last one that needs to be dragged out. That would be a very powerful and impactful moment for the character as a final goodbye. And yeah, we know it's the Nine Tails that has the idea of taking Naruto to Minato after he loses the Nine Tails. Kurama tells Gaara, yeah, take Naruto to Minato, he can give my other half to him, he's not gonna die that way. But he could also give a moment like that to Killer Bee as he's about to die, and as Naruto watches him dying, at the same time he's being pulled in. Do you see how cool this would be in the story? I mean, obviously it would be very tragic and sad, but this is the exact type of situation we would imagine our characters to be in the 4th Great Ninja War, the war to decide the fate of the shinobi world. Extremely tragic, gut-wrenching situations in the middle of combat. That's exactly what we need. But no, Killer Bee just survives. And yeah, I kinda get it because shonen fans tend to be a little soft. Oh, I can't have characters dying here because this is Shonen Jump. We can only kill one character per arc. Seriously, the only semi-important character that is not a villain that dies in the entire war arc is Neji, and he's had no relevance throughout the entire Naruto Shippuden era. I mean, yeah, some other very minor characters like Shikaku and Inoichi die. And I mean, I guess Obito turned good at the end, but he counts as a villain. Other than that, no one else dies. Everybody is fine. I mean, of course not everybody is fine because 95% of the Shinobi Alliance was comprised of 80,000 ninjas dies, but everybody we know of is fine. So obviously more important characters should have died in the 4th Great Ninja War to give it a little bit more impact. And one of those characters that should have died, especially because of the situation he was in, is Killer Bee. Like this video if you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ring notifications, those are very important. Watch this other cool video right here for more Naruto content, and thank you so much for watching.